So today, my Padre Pobre, back then, he made $300 a month. My mother spent $400 a month. Okay. He couldn't solve a $400 a month problem. That's why he was poor. He would sit there at night all by himself. My mother's crying. And he's trying to figure out how to make a $400 payment with $300. And he'd be sitting there, my mother would be crying. I go, hey, what's the matter, Dad? I don't have any money. Your mother spent $400, I got $300. That's a problem. And then I go see a rich dad, and the difference was he solved his problems by having a team around him. He had his banker, his lawyers, his accountants. He had his real estate agent, his stockbroker, he had a team around him. So at 9 years old, I would see my rich dad solving, back then there weren't big problems, so like $150,000 a year problems. Here's my dad, he can't solve a $400 a month problem, and my rich dad is solving like $10,000 a month problems. So every time Rich Dad would show his problems to his team, he got smarter. And Poor Dad, just like in school, he'd sit there and try and figure out by himself. That's the reason so many people are poor. They can't solve problems. They try and solve it by themselves. So today, my wife says hello, but right now she's solving a $26 million problem. Not a big problem to her. But the average woman cannot solve $1 million problem. Most men can't solve $1 million problem. But she's solving a $26 million problem. She's going to raise it to 60. She's got a $26 million property. She wants $65 million for it. So it's nothing about male or female. It's just the size of the problem. So she's always talking to my team here because they help her solve the problem. I don't know how big your problems are, but you're only as rich as the size of your problem. Okay? And in school, they tell you to solve the problem on your own. That's why people are poor. That's why they're poor. And Padre Pobre was a member of the union. So when he solved problems, his friends were all school teachers, all employees. They couldn't solve the problem because school teachers are not smart when it comes to money. Maybe good people, but they can't solve money problems. Your government is in trouble, my government's in trouble, is because we have highly educated people who can't solve money problems. That's what's going on. Let me repeat a couple of things. Poor dad. Rich dad. Today, tomorrow, here. You learn by making mistakes. And in school, they say memorize, don't make mistakes. So when I talk to many people who are highly educated but poor, is in their minds is that all I have to do is memorize the right answer. But they can't do a thing because they're afraid of making mistakes. So that's why the cash flow game, this one here, or Monopoly, or soccer, you're always practicing. The people that make the most mistakes win. I'll say it again. The people that make the most mistakes in life and learn from their mistakes win. How many people in this room play golf? You don't learn to play golf reading a book. people, if you want to be good at golf, you've got to go. That's how you win. You make mistakes. If I can change one thing in your thought, the more mistakes you make, the smarter you get. It's like the baby that stands up and falls down. They never walk. And what's happening to millions of people all across the world is they're so afraid of making mistakes because they went to school. So I'll just say this one more, 2 stories. Is when I was in flight school, we practiced. Every day we flew, we practiced crashing. Every single day, there was some kind of instructor always do something. And 2 or 3 times on a flight may last an hour and a half. We'd practice crashing 2 or 3 times. So we'd be flying around, instructor would kill the engine. And I said this before, amateurs, bad pilots, when the engine dies, they pull back. You don't want to go down. So when they killed the engine, when I first started off, the aircraft goes. So every time they killed the engine, by the time I was in Vietnam, when the engine died, it was automatic. Push down. You push into the crash. So in Vietnam, this was 1972, I was flying about 1,500 feet, the aircraft loaded with 18 rockets, 6 machine guns, crew of 5 and ammunition. And we're flying around, and every day we practice. And one day, I watched my gauge. I said, oh my God, because that's what we're taught in school. You see this one gauge, it's called the NG gauge. And it quit. It went whoop, whoop, whoop. And the first feeling is to pull back. But because we practice, even though I felt like pulling back, push forward. And you start looking at the ocean coming up. That split second between pulling back and pushing forward is why I'm alive today. That's it. So I'll say it again, is I practice crashing constantly, even in business, because that's how you learn. Okay? I had 5 guys went to war with me. All 5 of us came back. Went down 3 times, because we practice. When we're afraid, we push forward. Most people in business, they don't want to ever feel that feeling. They always pull back. Story number 1. Story number 2 is my first business was the first nylon and Velcro surfer wallet business, the colorful wallets. I lost $800,000. I had no house. I had no place to live. Thank God I wasn't married. And that was the best experience because I had to rebuild my company. By rebuilding my company, I got smarter. That's how you get rich. So you learn from your mistakes. Don't blame anybody else. There are a lot of people I was angry at, but I only could blame me. So I sat there, and if it took me 2 years to just kind of put the pieces back together, paying off all my bills. And the reason I'm a little bit smarter today was because I've lost 3 companies. I've gone down 3 times. That's the difference. So I'm not saying do that, but I said when you leave this room tomorrow, that's what you'll be facing. Because you'll go back to school, your friends will say, don't make mistakes, don't take any risks, don't do anything. And if you do nothing, you learn nothing. If you do nothing, you learn nothing. How many people know people who are doing the same mistake every day they go to work, Because that's because in school, it's hard to make mistakes, in real life too, but that's how we learn.